Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday, and welcome to another edition of the Spin Zone here with myself, Spin Doc. Thank you so much for being with us wherever you're watching, whether it's on X or YouTube or somewhere else. If you can, please give us some love. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the Daily Bread Network on YouTube. That's where you can find all these shows and all of our content. Also, follow me on X at SpinDoc Sports. Give the video a like, give the video a share, repost, etc. We do appreciate that. That helps us get all of the free content that we have out there for the people. So, to get going, yesterday was pretty fun. If you watch this show, Will Warren and Tarek Skubal, both of those hit pretty easily. We played Skubal in VIP. I'll talk more about him in a moment when we get to what did we learn. And Lodolo didn't seem right. I talked about it from the jump, and this is something that has been part of the lessons learned a few times on here, is to trust your instinct, trust your first instinct. And my first instinct did say that Lodolo, that there just wasn't enough chase there. He didn't get guys out enough in the zone. There wasn't enough whiff on the curve that he throws. It just didn't add up. So we stayed off of that one and finished 2-0. VIP went on a roll. Stupid Aaron Judge struck out twice to Castillo, a guy he had struck out once in 12 plate appearances, which cost us a sweep. But the other four, Skubal, Tyon, Yoshi Yamamoto, and Bassett all overs, all hit. So it was a pretty fun night. And I'm also wearing Timberwolves blue today because my Wolves completed the gentleman's sweep, and 4-1, we're on to the Western Conference Finals again. Thunder or Nuggets, bring either one of them on. I'll have more about that, more to say about that once the matchup is actually set. For today, just going to enjoy the fact that we're back-to-back Western Conference Finals. All right, what did we learn yesterday? So first thing with Tarek Skubal is we learned that Tarek Skubal at home is basically matchup proof. Absolutely torched the Red Sox yesterday. I mean, it was public. It was chalky. I'm not going to sit here and like pat myself on the back and say what a wonderful job I did. And like what a wonderful capper I am because I got Tarek Skubal right. A lot of people could have gotten Tarek Skubal right, but those plays win too. And when they present themselves, you have to take them. So the one thing that I will say, though, is I'm not 100% convinced about doing this on the road. But Tarek Skubal at home, my basic take on Tarek Skubal at home is that you can almost, unless the line looks really screwy, you can almost just automatically, as soon as it opens, put a half unit on the over, regardless of number, regardless of opponent. The man in his home starts this year, 11, 12, 11. The only team that he didn't pitch well against at home was the Royals, so 4. But non-divisional opponents at home, it's almost an auto bet. And there's really no number that they can put it at that would make it unbettable. So unless the line looks screwy, unless it's a divisional opponent, I'm probably going to be on Tarek Skubal for a half unit at an every home start the remainder of the year. So unless something changes. So, but he's absolutely dominating. And if you haven't seen his changeup before, if you're a hitter that hasn't seen his changeup before, the delivery pattern, the spin pattern, when combined with the 100 that he can run up the ladder for his fastball, hitters don't stand a chance, especially not hitters that make zone contact or that don't make zone contact like the Red Sox. So, the over was the only way to play it. So hopefully you got it, and hopefully you smashed it. Now, the other thing that I wanted to go over was with Will Warren, because we cashed that one too. And Will Warren was not a guy that you would think about, not a guy that was probably on a whole lot of people's radars yesterday, but it's a combination of what I call correlative metrics. And what I mean by that is when you have a pitcher that does generate a bunch of zone whiff. And then you have a team that, like the Mariners, who swing a decent amount in the zone, have a number of guys that have zone contact that is under league average. That is a correlative metric. And those things go way beyond like 5 of last 6, or 6+ in 8 of his last 12 on a Tuesday when the temperature is at 72 or high, whatever the case might be, that stuff. Those things go way beyond that, because you have a pitcher that does things well that the other team struggles with. Conversely, you can look for undervalue by doing the exact opposite, is that if you have a pitcher who maybe they get a lot of chase and a lot of chase whiff, but the team that they're playing doesn't chase, and they struggle, and then that pitcher struggles with zone contact, and the opponent that they have makes good zone contact. Those types of things are what correlate to each other. One thing that you don't want to do, and this is what I always try to do on this show and whenever I cap, is to just metric spew. And what I mean by metric spew is just throw out a bunch of numbers that quote unquote justify my case, but none of them relate to each other. So, like for example, if a team is playing where I have the updated swing chart, which we'll go to in a second. If a team is playing against the Royals and they have elite zone contact, and they're saying, well, this pitcher allows 2% under league average in zone contact, and then that's it. Well, there's nothing on the other side of that. So that's wonderful, and that's good for that pitcher. But what about the opponent? And if you're against, say, the Royals, who lead the league over the last 2 weeks in zone contact, 2% under league average doesn't really do a whole lot, because the Royals are almost 5% above league average in zone contact, and they have a number of guys that are over 10% over. So, those sorts of things are what you want to look for, because if there's just random metrics thrown at it, or, if you're saying, okay, well, this pitcher, and this is why trend betting doesn't work in the long run, is to say, well, he's hit this in 4 of his last 5. Okay, well, the 4 he hit it against, I'm making this up, the Rockies, the Marlins, the Angels, you see where I'm going. And then today he gets the Astros or the Royals or the Dodgers. And it's like, those don't correlate because they're not the same team. So you want to look for things that are, what has this pitcher done in the exact or similar situations as what he will be in today? That's what correlates. Will Warren was in a correlative situation. It obviously ended up working out. Not only did he hit the over, but he hit pretty much everything you could have laddered him towards. And that would have been some nice plus money. So last but not least, from what did we learn yesterday, is that there are a few guys in a few situations, and I said this at the end of the show yesterday, where sometimes it pays and can pay more to just take the name away, cap it by the numbers, add the name after, and play if it says to play. I'm talking about Patrick Corbin. All the numbers said that he would get his strikeout prop against the Rockies. The name Patrick Corbin strikes fear in many a bettor's hearts, as he should. And there's obviously the joke in a lot of places on social media about it's Patrick Corbin Day, like not like Chris Sale Day, where like what we have where you bet on him to go over. It's Patrick Corbin Day where you bet on Patrick Corbin to get trounced. The Rockies are the kind of team that Patrick Corbin stuff actually worked well against, and it showed. 9 strikeouts and went way over his total. So it was like some vintage Patrick Corbin yesterday. I said it at the very end. I said I couldn't do it because of the name and because of the potential for him to just get absolutely lit up, which he had a decent start. It wasn't like phenomenal, but he had a decent start and hit it easily. So, I'm not going to take that one and say like, God, like I'm just kicking myself that I didn't bet Patrick Corbin, that said no capper ever these days. But there is value sometimes in taking the names completely off. I've actually done that a few times where I have all my numbers, my metrics on my model and my spreadsheet. And I actually just changed the font color on all of the names to white. And so I can't see who it is. And then I highlight it and then I sort it by something different to mix it up. And then I say, okay, this guy, this guy, this guy, then add the names back in. It's something that I do every now and then. And just from my own learning, I probably should do a little bit more of, because Patrick Corbin could have been easily played yesterday. But again, I get why the name strikes fear in the hearts of gamblers. So that's where we're at from yesterday before we get on with the business of today. And I'll show you the updated swing metrics chart, which is updated as of last night. Shout out to some of the people in the comments here. We got Mom Who Bets. Good morning to you. Always with us. Thank you so much for being here. Mario, good morning to you as well, my guy. Appreciate you being here. And morning to Cover Kings. Welcome in. Saying a half unit on Shigano, Sai Shigano over the last few starts for sure. Over 3.5 Ks at plus 105. All right. Let's get into the first pitcher while I get the swing metrics rolling here. And again, these are updated as of this morning. So this is the last 2 weeks, and this is the month of May to date. So the first pitcher, so a guy who isn't quite Carlos Rodon to me, but he's had his moments. I know Sharpie doesn't like him. Mr. Kevin Gausman. Striking guys out at a 22.9% clip, walking guys at a 6.9% rate, gets the Rays today at home. And this game is at 3:07 p.m. We have a line pretty similar to what I thought it would be. I actually thought that the overjuiced would be a little bit more. I thought we'd be looking at a minus 155-ish. But we got minus 136 on the over and an under of plus 108. All right, let's break this one down. And before we break this one down, I just wanted to remind everybody that, I mean, there's like 7 games today. And so actually, no, there's 6 games today. I apologize. And there's only 2 games in the evening. So 4 in the afternoon and 2 in the evening. This is a moving day. And one mistake that I see a bunch of people make all the time, regardless of the sport, I guess not NFL, because, well, sometimes NFL when it's Thursday or Monday, is that there's just this insatiable need or desire where, like, you have to bet on something. So even though it might not fit your normal criteria or your normal stuff, you just have to bet on something. And so you end up trying to force the issue. And so there's nothing wrong with taking a day off. There's nothing wrong with limiting your unit size on a day. There's nothing wrong with just saying, okay, on these light days, I've done this before too, is to say, I have a 1.5 unit cap. And what I mean by that is that no matter what I find, what I do, there will only be 1.5 units total put in play today. What that does is when you do that first, that helps you stay away from, okay, well, normally I wouldn't bet this, but there's only 5 games today, so it's the best of the best. If it's not worth your bet, it's not worth your bet. Books actually make a good amount of profit on days like this because of people doing exactly what I just said, forcing the issue. Like, say, kind of sort of fits. It meets most of my stuff. And normally I'd throw it out, but there's only 5 games today. So, what the hell? It's, what the hell? I'll throw $50 on. I'll throw $30 on. That adds up. Don't give anything back. So if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Remember, every MLB team plays Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So you got to wait 1 day and you got a whole bunch of stuff to bet on. So daily unit cap is something that I've used for a while on very light days. It's just to say we're putting 1.5 units in play today. That's it. No more, and maybe less, but never anymore. So let's talk about Kevin Gausman. Kevin Gausman in the zone, 51.2% of the time, and his overall contact metrics are just slightly above average for both, for zone and for chase. Now, he does have a few against this plate appearances against his projected lineup. Strikeout history, not the greatest. Brandon Lowe, 2 of 8, hasn't struck out Rortvedt, and that's pretty much it. If Jankowski is in, he hasn't gotten him either. And the other thing with the Rays, and he's also gotten Caballero 1 out of 4 times, Taylor Walls, who's projected to be in, 2 out of 6 times. So there's some sketchy K history to begin with. Yandy Diaz, again, won't play today. He was their highest contact guy for the Rays. For those that don't know, he had a passport issue and could not get everything cleared up in time to get entry into Canada. So that is why Yandy Diaz will not play in any of those games, including today's. So looking at the Rays projected lineup, which as of right now is projected, to be, if I remember right, it's 5-4. It is, yes, 5-4. Five lefties, 4 righties. And when I look at Gausman, there's a few things. So number one is it's tough for me to bet Gausman usually pregame, because I've talked about this before, is that if his 4-seam fastball, which averages around 94, but he can run it up 95, 96, or he can run it down in 91 to 93. And oftentimes, and Gausman has said this himself, is that even he doesn't know what the velocity is going to be until he actually gets out there. His 4-seamer, it can be an out pitch, but it's not when the velo is down. So when that velo is down, it is very, very hard for Kevin Gausman to get Ks. The reason being twofold. Number one is his other most off-thrown pitch is his splitter. Throws it 32% or throws it 33% of the time, gets a 32% whiff rate, comes in at a much different spin pattern than the 4-seam fastball, but in the general same vicinity. Now, the problem here is that Gausman does not throw his splitter in warmups. He's admitted this. He's acknowledged this. He doesn't throw it in warmups because of the grip and because what it does to his hand. There's a whole bunch of reasons, but he doesn't throw it in warmups. So that splitter sometimes can take an inning or two to get under control if you're not throwing it in warmups. But what you really want to look for with Gausman is you want to look at the velo on his fastball. So his average for his last start against the Mariners, where he didn't hit his K prop, was 93.7, which was down by 0.5 miles an hour. Now we go to a game like, for example, against the Guardians, where he did hit that strikeout prop, and it was up at 95.2, which was up by 0.8 miles per hour from his season average. You see where I'm going with this. It's the 4-seam fastball almost exclusively that dictates how Kevin Gausman does with getting strikeouts. So if the velo is not there with this projected Rays lineup, the overall, it's going to be tough to get them, because if you look at this Rays lineup from start to finish, is that you don't see a whole lot of whiff to the 4-seam fastball in some spots, but then you see a ton in others. So Brandon Lowe is projected to be in. He's got a 38.7% whiff rate. The league average is about 25 for hitters. Christopher Morel at 38. Aranda and Caballero both over 30. Caminero almost at 30. So some of those guys are the guys that you're going to want in today if you want to back Kevin Gausman. Now, on the other end of it, you do have Chandler Simpson, who has a 1.6% whiff rate to a 4-seam fastball, which is quite good. Jankowski, who is projected to be in on one site, not the other, is about 10. Danny Jansen is about 19. Rortvedt, who could be the other catcher, is at 21.6. So there's a disparity across the board. There's a disparity across the board about the whiff rate to the 4-seam fastball. So if you wanted to play this one pregame, what I would for sure wait till a lineup comes out, because the guys that you want in, if you want to take an over, are Lowe, Morel, Aranda, Caballero, Caminero, Walls, Missner. Those 7, if you get all 7, you can probably give it a shot for a half unit for the over. If you get over half of those, maybe you take a shot on the over as well. If you don't barely get any of those, it's going to be hard, because if you're not going to whiff to a four-seam fastball in general, then you're going to have to hope and pray that Gausman's going to come out and be at that 95, 96 rate velo. I will tell you, he's only been at that about 1.5, because he was up and down in one start of his last 4 starts. So another way to play Gausman that I actually prefer is to either on Gamecast, or if you can watch the game, just watch the first 5 to 6 four-seam fastballs that he throws. MLB StatCast has it. ESPN will show it. Everybody will show the velo. Don't worry so much about location. Worry about velo. And if it's at 94, 95 or above, then this can be a team that Kevin Gausman can get 6+ strikeouts. If it's not, if it's down in the 93 to 94 range, you're going to be straddling the line. And if most of the first 5 to 6 fastballs are in that 92 to 93 range, it's going to be real tough for him to get it. So I've actually played this angle on Gausman a few times myself. So, but that obviously would require you to be at a computer or at a TV or someplace where you can pay attention at 3:07 p.m. Eastern time today. So if you're going to play it pregame, I would look in the lineup and I would wait and I would make sure that low, at least 3 or 4 of Lowe, Morel, Aranda, Caballero, Caminero, and Walls are in the lineup. That could get you what you needed for the over for Kevin Gausman. All right. Morning, welcome in to go get him. Kind of a stinky slate. I mean, it's moving day. It's probably it's expected. Not a ton of options. So that's why I said before, like I'm a strong believer in slates like this to just do a unit cap for the day and just say I'm going to put one unit or 1.5 units in play. And that forces you to really whittle it down to the best of the best. All right, moving on. We have 2 more pitchers, both from the same game. Next one is Hunter Brown, striking guys out at a 32% clip, 7.7% walk rate versus the Rangers at 8:05 p.m. tonight. Hunter Brown laying, which based on his recent history, I'm not surprised, over 6.5 on the road at even money, with an under at a bettable -135. This is a tricky line because if you go by Hunter Brown's most recent history, you would think immediately over, because he's hit 9 Ks in 4 straight, including 2 of those against very low strikeout, high contact teams, those being the Blue Jays and the Royals. Now, Blue Jays was at home, the Royals was on the road, and then he had a 9-piece against 2 teams that are much easier to strike out in the White Sox and the Reds. Now, Brown's outs are up a little bit. His outs usually are at 17 and a half juice to the over. They are on the road. Interesting. They're up at 18 and a half. Heavily juiced towards the under. So the projection is he's going 6 hits, walks about the same, and as are his earned runs. So first thing is there's plenty of history with Hunter Brown against this projected lineup because they're divisional rivals, and he's faced him a number of times. And the K history overall, I'll be honest, it's not good. 89 plate appearances, 14 strikeouts for a 15.7% K rate. Now, Hunter Brown himself as a pitcher does operate in the zone slightly above league average and thrives on getting zone whiff. He only allows 78.2% zone contact. So we go over to our swing chart and we see over the last 2 weeks where the Rangers rank, as they have been all season. They swing a ton in the zone, but they do make contact in the zone. So now we got to go hitter by hitter, because the zone is where this one, in my opinion, will be decided. The Rangers are one of the most swing-happy teams in the zone, and they have been one of the most highest contact teams in the zone as well. This also plays a factor into the very, very low K history against some of these hitters. Now, I will tell you, with that as a qualifier, is that the Rangers so far this year have not seen this version of Hunter Brown. His velo is up, his spin is up, he's changed a few things in his mechanic. He is a much improved pitcher this season. So the Rangers have not seen this version of Hunter Brown, but they have seen past iterations. And I talk about the K history. Marcus Semien, 2 Ks and 20 plate appearances. Adolis Garcia, 1 in 16. You also have Jonah Heim, 1 in 14. So you have 3 guys right there that just aren't Kang against this guy. Wyatt Langford, 9 plate appearances and starting to get up there with only 1 K. Really, the only guy in this lineup that he has gotten previously is Josh Jung, who is projected to be in 5 times in 9 plate appearances. So I'm not going to go totally off of past history because, as I said, this is a different Hunter Brown, but I can't ignore it either. So what I want to compare is the overall zone swing rate and zone contact rate of this lineup that Brown is projected to face, which as of right now is 4 lefties and 5 righties. Brown for the season striking guys out both sides of the plate pretty equally, so not much you can discern there. So we take them, I always take them in 3s. So Smith, Langford, Peterson are the top 3. And so I look at Smith, Langford, and Peterson, and I see that Smith swings about average in the zone, makes great zone contact. Peterson swings about average in the zone, makes above average zone contact. Wyatt Langford, exact same thing. Those 3 might be tough. Then you got Adolis Garcia and Marcus Semien, who they have a little bit lesser contact, but they also do not have very many Ks to this man. Adolis Garcia, under league average in zone contact. Marcus Semien is over league average in zone contact. So from the top 5, I'm coming up with about 2 to maybe 2.5. Then you go to the bottom 4, Carter and Heim. I talked about Heim's just lack of Ks against this man. And I also have Evan Carter, who has high zone contact. Same thing with Jake Berger. And I talked about how Josh Jung has been a strikeout against him. So there's 1, 2, 3. So I'm coming up with 4 or 5 in this one. 5 probably is the number that I keep landing on, maybe 6. So this is a lean on the under. It's a little juicy. It's starting to get a little juicy. So if you want to play it, I would play it now when it's at minus 135 before it gets to be too much. If this game were in Houston, I might be willing to take a shot on a plus money over for this number, zone contact metrics aside, because when I do look at Hunter Brown, he has just been absolute. I mean, he's hit 7 in every home start this year, and he has also done a phenomenal job about getting teams that have a lot of zone swing at home as well. On the road, it's been a little bit of a different story. The Cardinals and the Mariners, who both have a lot of swing in the zone. Cardinals do have at least the Cardinals have a lot of zone contact, and the Mariners have been better lately. Both of those teams did get him he only got 4 and 3 against them. So zone contact is the key here. The Rangers have zone contact galore and a lot of zone swing. I do believe that that's what's playing a factor into his outs being over at the 18.5 versus the 17.5. So this is a lean on the under. Right now, the best price that I can find is minus 135, which is on both BetMGM and DraftKings. FanDuel, everybody else is within a couple cents of each other, but I would for sure wait until the lineup comes out so you can validate that zone contact. So joining us is Roger. Good morning, my friend. Welcome in. Appreciate you uttered up Corbin. Oh, that's awesome, man. I was hoping somebody did it. I said it was the cringe. It's cringy, and I get it if you don't want to touch it because of the name, but man, do those numbers match up. And also said Yamamoto at exactly 6Ks at plus 300. Yes. we did that one in VIP as well. The numbers all said 6. That's exactly what he got. That's awesome, man. Congratulations. And Adams Digest, welcome in, my guy. The first part of this comment was the Mariners. The Mariners are about to go on a downswing. The injuries are crushing. Yeah. They're trying to plug holes. They're trying to scotch tape and bubble gum right now to get through it. It's a good team when they're healthy. It's a really, really good team when they're healthy. So hopefully for their sake that they do. So, all right, last but not least, the other side of this game, Jacob deGrom, Mr. Schizo this year so far when it comes to strikeouts. So Jacob deGrom gets the Astros striking guys out at a 27.2% clip, 5.9% walk rate at obviously same game, same time. And this one is about the same as Hunter Brown with an over 6.5 at plus 100 and under 6.5 at minus 128. All right. So, few things about deGrom is that obviously he's coming off of his best strikeout performance of the year against the Tigers, where he hit him with a 10-piece. But before that, there have been some up and down results when it comes to striking guys out. I've talked about this before about deGrom, is that whereas he used to be a guy that operated outside of the zone a bunch and needed to get that chase and needed to get that whiff, and then which set guys up for his blazing four-seam fastball, he's doing it in reverse this time. A lot of early fastballs, some few changeups, a lot of stuff in the zone. And what that stuff in the zone is doing is it's increased his zone rate. It's lowered his strikeout rate a little bit, but he's also pitching longer into games. So prior to his last 2 starts, where he only had 15 outs, 18, 16, 21 in a row. So going into the 6th, into the 7th, in a number of cases, averaging almost 17 outs per game. So with the line itself, the line is probably where it should be, at least to open. Everything else looks pretty much down the line. So with Jacob deGrom does spend 52.8% of his time in the zone. That's well above pitcher average. And he does allow 75%, which is the best number of any starting pitcher going today, zone contact. So you have to look at zone, you have to look at zone swing, zone contact, and there, at least with a few guys, there is a decent amount, not a ton, but a decent amount of past history. So we go to past history first, and we see that against this projected Astros lineup, which as of right now is projected to be 1 lefty and 8 righties. So Caratini only got him 3 out of 14. Christian Walker only got him 3 out of 7. And the rest of the lineup, deGrom has not faced. So zone contact will be my key for this one. And as a team, I go and I see that over the last 14 days, the Astros slightly above average in zone contact, but zone swing is slightly under average. So then if you're breaking it down hitter by hitter, is that what you see, like it always is with the Astros, is that a number of guys at the top of the lineup have some pretty elite zone contact metrics where you got, or at least good, Altuve, Paredes, Yanni Diaz, and so forth. Then you get to the bottom of the lineup, and you get to Jake Myers, DeZenzo, and Cam Smith. And every single one of those guys can go down, and at least one of them can go down twice. So you can possibly have 3 to 4 right there. Now the question becomes, can deGrom get 2 strikeouts across to the rest of the lineup? Personally, I think that he can. This has always been my issue with ever taking an under on the Astros, is that the remnants of some of their teams that went to and won World Series are still there with Altuve and Yanni and so forth. And then at the bottom of the lineup, it just gets blah. It just gets kind of blah. With they have a lot of young guys. They have a lot of guys who are just coming up and trying to replace some of the guys that they lost from those teams. For example, Zach DeZenzo, 75.2% zone contact, which is significantly under player average. He also makes only 37% chase contact. Stuff like that is what you find at the bottom of this Astros lineup. So if this is the lineup that they want to run out for Houston, especially with DeGrom at home and with the outs where they are, I would not be opposed to taking a half unit shot on the over 6.5 at plus 100 here. Now, guys that I would need in the lineup to do that I'd need Cam Smith, I'd need DeZenzo, and I would probably, I mean, it would be nice if a few of the top guys in the lineup, so like Yanni Diaz, Altuve, etc., aren't in the lineup today, but starting a new series against a division rival, I would be very, very shocked if that happened. So Jeremy Pena would be another one, even though he's projected to bat leadoff. He's got 88.5% zone contact. So, but really, if the bottom three or if the bottom four here are Caratini, Myers, DeZenzo, Cam Smith, not opposed to an over 5 or 6.5 at plus 100. What you can also do if you wanted to is you could take this, which and pair it with something else that you like. So you can pull this down from a 6.5 to a 5.5 and pull it something else down that you like that's juiced, put them together and get a little mini parlay. Those are the ways that I look to play DeGrom for this one. I do need to see a lineup. I also want to see who the umpire is as well. All right. That will do it for the pitchers of the day. Not a whole lot to choose from when it comes to other sides and totals and other looks today. So just a few. I think if you want a plus money to go with, I mean, the Astros are plus 110. And, you know, even though I said, you know, just because DeGrom's going to strike guys out doesn't mean that the Astros won't win the game. Plus 110. If you want to gamble more, the Nationals maybe at plus 180. There's not a bunch to pick from today. And if you're looking for a total, the only total that I'm personally looking at would be an under 9 for the Nationals and the Braves. If you wanted any looks on the NBA game tonight, I personally think that Denver can win the game tonight. So if you want to get some nice plus money, you can go with the Nuggets at plus 160 on the money line. If you want a little less risk behind that, you can go with them at a plus 4.5. Not a lot happening tonight. So gearing up for a big weekend and for a big shows on Friday and Saturday. I will more than likely not be on at this time tomorrow, just because when I'm on with Sharpie on The Walking Dead, which is at 1 p.m. Eastern time on Fridays, we usually just talk about the same pitchers and same stuff. So I don't like to be repetitive. So I'll post that. If there's enough variance in what we're going to talk about, I'll go live myself. Otherwise, you can catch both of us on at 1 p.m. Eastern time on his show, The Walking Dead, where we're going to talk about 6 pitchers and have looks, leans, etc. for all of them. So last but not least, thank you, Roger. Congrats. Yes, T-Wolves, very happy right now. You know, I'm already getting asked, do you want OKC or do you want Denver? I want to enjoy this for a day. Want to watch tonight. If we play our best ball, I firmly believe that the Wolves can beat either one of them in a 7-game series. So, you know, I'm all for either one. May the best team win, and we'll see what happens. So that's going to do it for today. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Thank you. Going back to the comments, thank you, Cover Kings, Mario, Mom Who Bets, Go Get 'em, Roger, and Adams. Appreciate you guys. Please, if you haven't yet, subscribe to the Daily Bread Network on YouTube. Follow me at Spin Doc Sports, and share the video. It helps us get our message out. Best of luck if you're tailing on anything. We'll see you tomorrow.